Emotion or an outburst. Outburst. So that is paroxysm, and that is word for the day. So with that, we move on to the printed.
The lead story on the Daily News: President promises during his second term developed moral society, confident of taking country to greater victories. Addressing a mammoth crowd over 100,000 at the inaugural UPFA presidential election rally at Anuradhapura in Anuradhapura yesterday, President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he was very confident of taking the country to greater victories from the January 27 after obtaining a second successful mandate based on the experience and knowledge gained in the struggles won to date. Well, it carries two photographs, also President waving, and also part of the massive crowd who patronized the UPFA first presidential rally that took place in Anuradhapura yesterday.
On Daily Mirror, related news, we deliver what we promise, says MR. This is a news by Sandun A. Jayasekara from Anuradhapura. President Mahinda Rajapaksa, kicking off his presidential election campaign from Anuradhapura yesterday, said he would refuse with contempt a $1 million from LTT sympathizers, but would accept with gratitude and respect a rupee offered by an innocent farmer for his propaganda campaign. And also he says, for the first time in the political history of Sri Lanka, I have come before you seeking your support to complete the development program. So actually, like, this is a promising request. And also, Mahesh, talking about the developments, we see a lot of developments which the present government has started, and I'm sure, like, they need enough and more time to complete these projects.
That has been the main concern. The development process cannot cease to continue for any change, because that will definitely hamper the national progress.
Correct.
That's something that we have to keep in mind. The Defence Secretary claims $1 billion for defamation from Sunday Leader, reports the Daily News. Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa's attorney at law Sanat Wijewardene has sent a letter of demand for ₹1 billion to the Sunday Leader newspaper. Chairman Mr. Lal Vikramatunge and editor Frederica Jones as damages for publishing 2 articles defamatory of the Defence Secretary on December 6th and December 12th, 2009, says the news report that the Defence Secretary has claimed $1 billion for defamation from the Sunday Leader.
Staying with Daily Mirror, it says government to take up GSP Plus issue with EU. The government yesterday turned the decision by the European Commission to propose temporarily withdrawing the GSP Plus trade concession to the island as a biased move, and added it would consider legal action if the move has serious implications on the country. So this is by Mr. G. Pires.
Lanka ranks second in stock market performance. Sri Lanka has been ranked second in stock market performance this year by South Korea-based Samsung Securities, says the Daily News. And also, in another development, GDP growth rate 4.2%, the third quarter recovery threefold than first quarter. Industrial sector growth 4.4%, services sector growth 5.1%, second highest paddy production, positive growth in livestock sector, once again reported on the Daily News front page.
On Daily Mirror, it says economy news, peace propels growth to 4.2%. Helped by new investments, Sri Lanka's economic growth accelerated its fastest pace this year after the end of a bloody civil war in May. The Census and Statistics Department said yesterday economy grew by 4.2% during the third quarter to September, faster than the 2.1% growth it posted in the second quarter.
World Bank assists Northern Rehabilitation, Daily News reports. The World Bank yesterday approved as much as $77 million package for Sri Lanka designed to support the return of 100,000 internally displaced persons to their places of origin in the northern province and to restore their livelihoods destroyed by 3 decades of civil war, a report on the Daily News.
Also on Daily News, it says along reopened A9 highway, Jaffna Kandy SLTV bus service started, that was yesterday, and also second rail bus service moves between Trincomalee and Galloya. First rail bus service between Batticaloa and Galloya was started. Then again, like India gives 10 buses to cost at cost of rupees 44 million.
The editorial on the Daily Mirror focuses on the non-aligned conference that happened way back in 1955 in April. The unseen injustice in world trade is the editorial of the Daily Mirror. It talks about how the non-aligned conference came into existence, which was started as a collection of the Asian African leaders getting together in one of their own countries to pursue a dialogue on matters of common concern for the region. So it discusses the merits of the non-aligned conference that happened in 1955 April on December 19th. With that, let's take a short break now. Good morning, this is Prime Sunrise. Let me take a look at the island lead story. Government to sue EU if GSP Plus is not granted. Denial of facility, a human rights violation. The government would institute legal action against the European Union if the GSP Plus concession was not granted to Sri Lanka, reports the island as per Minister of Export Development and International Trade Professor G.L. Pires, who has addressed the media briefing in Colombo, where he said that the government is going to take action against the European Union if the GSP Plus is not granted to Sri Lanka.
I have a news in Mirror Business. It says all share price index reaches all-time high. The all share price index of Colombo Stock Exchange created history yesterday when it closed at 3,188.8 points. This is the highest point reached by the index in the history of the Colombo Stock Exchange, surpassing the previous record of 3,139.7 reached on the 13th of October. And also on Mirror Business, says economy boosted by post-war optimism. Sri Lanka economy grew 4.2% in the third quarter from a year earlier, helped by the increased activities at the end of the 25-year war, from a 2.1% expansion in the second quarter. So there is progress.
Look at the Daily News editorial, a summit in crisis. It is a summit in crisis. There are not our words. That is how the UN environmental programs Ashim Steiner described the climate change summit in Copenhagen, Denmark yesterday. It is plain for anyone following developments in Copenhagen that the summit is not going anywhere in terms of real pledges, real progress. That's about the UN environmental program that is taking place, the summit that is taking place in Copenhagen. And though it was a much publicized, much talked about summit, Clifford, the outcome of this summit has not been favorable.
It seems like it's going nowhere actually.
Yeah, it has kind of, it has turned out to be a flop. In fact, the agenda and what has been discussed and some of the policies that has been adopted has had not really an influential impact on the environmental preservation as the summit guarantees.
Even though US has committed that they will contribute US $10 billion only till 2020, but still we don't see any progress in the discussions, and that is the news we are getting all over from all around the media actually.
Well, with that, now it's time for us to move, but before that, can we touch on the sports segment on the Daily Mirror?
Yes, sparkling Dilshan leads Sri Lanka to narrow win. This is on Daily Mirror. Last night we saw a brilliant batting display, a courageous Sri Lanka fighting back, just like they did on the first one day, but unfortunately they lost. But here, then again, they showed a superb fighting spirit, and Angelo Matthews played an anchoring role. And contributions from the entire team, from bowling to fielding as well as the batting. Now we see, Mahesh, a steady opening partnership in the Sri Lankan camp, where Dilshan is performing consistently, and also Upul Taranga coming into the scene.
Well, that's something Clifford would always like to relish talk about cricket, but we do not have the time.
Enough time.
6:58, and Sharon is here for the hourly news bulletin. With that, we're going to wind up today's Prime Sunrise. Bye-bye.